So you just get a gun, and now you want to know, are there any legal documents that I'll be needing? Any licenses, any permits that are required for me to properly handle my firearm? There are three common legal documents which you will encounter over here in the Philippines, and I'll give a quick overview on them. If you want to dig deeper into them, you want to look at the details, I suggest you look up the documents in the Firearms and Explosives FEO website and files, so you could get the details on them. Now, the law or the gun culture over here in the Philippines is dynamic. It's not going to stay the same all the time, so please be aware of that, and please try to be critical in understanding the information. So the three documents, number one would be the firearm license, number two would be the permit to transport, number three would be the permit to carry. So number one, let's take this step by step. The firearm license card. A firearm license card, it kind of looks like this. Let me give you a, they're blurred for my privacy. But it's pretty much like an ID card issued by the PNP, or the Philippine National Police. So what is this? It is a license per firearm, meaning there's one license per firearm that you will possess. So it's not just a registration of the firearm in the database, it's pretty much a license to own, or a license to legally possess that particular firearm. Now, unlike a driver's license or what is the practice in other countries, you don't have one license and you can buy an unlimited number of firearms. It's one license per firearm, and upon issuance, this will be good for a duration of around 4 years, which is the practice now. And at the end of 4 years, you will have to renew that firearm, which will be good for a duration of every 2 years, I believe. And there is a renewal fee. So what are the types of firearm licenses? Number one, the most common would be the handgun or the pistol. So common handgun calibers such as 9mm, 45 ACP, and because of competition, 40 Smith & Wesson, pretty common now, and the IPSC or IPSC style competitions here in the Philippines. Number two would be for shotguns. No problem in acquiring a shotgun and the firearm license for it. Number three would be for 22 rifles, or I would like to classify this as low-powered rifles. So the 22 LR, that category of rifles. And the last one, to my knowledge, you could always add up on this if you know more, would be the high-powered firearms. High-powered firearms meaning these are high-caliber rifles such as, let's say, an AR-15, or commonly known in the Philippines as the M16. So AR-15s, whether they're chambered in 223 or 5.56 millimeter, rifles higher than that, such as, let's say, the AK-47 7.62 by 39. They have bolt action rifles, which are pretty expensive here in the country, just the pricing dynamics. So chambered in, let's say, 308 or 7.62 by 51, and the higher calibers, so they get stronger. They're considered as high-powered rifles. Now, a little side note here on high-powered rifles or high-powered firearms. If the pistol, submachine gun, the rifle is in a full auto configuration, it would also fall under a high-powered firearm. So that's just the classification. Now people will ask, well, can civilians own this? This is another gray area. here in the Philippines, the whole full auto thing is not actually clearly distinguished. So if you see AR-15s in the gun show, for example, most of them are actually full auto. I have not seen a semi-auto one, unless it was probably a Bushmaster, which was imported from the USA or something like that. So those are the 4 types of firearm licenses, from handgun or the pistol, the shotgun, the 22 rifles, which are similarly priced when you acquire them, and the high-powered one, which most of the time costs a bit more expensive when you apply for that. Now, for those people who want to ask, how about the cost, how much is this? Now the price is always going to vary, it's always going to change, but I'll give you an idea, because I know how frustrating it is for people to just get a price, a figure. So firearm licenses, when you apply for them, they would cost around, for handguns, shotguns, the 22 rifles, they would cost around probably 4,500 Philippine pesos to around 6,000. So 4,500 to 6,000. And then for high-powered rifles, they could go as high as 10,000. So pretty crazy, pretty expensive. Renewal for your firearm license would cost around probably 2,300 to 3,000 for your pistol, shotgun, non-high powered firearm. If you do it yourself in Camp Cram, in the FEO, the Firearms and Explosive Office, or you could do it through probably a gun shop, an agent who would probably do it for 3,000 pesos or higher. And then for high-powered rifles, high-powered firearms, they would cost a little more, probably in the 3,000 plus area if you're gonna do it yourself. So that area. So in practice, firearm licenses, when you apply for them, like in a gun store and a gun show, they are normally understood as a license and processing fees. So the gun store will normally acquire that license, pay the fees, and then in addition, or built in that price, is a processing fee for them to process your papers in the Philippine National Police Headquarters, so in Camp Crame. Now, on to permits. So number 2, the permit to transport. Once you already do possess a firearm, when you have one, a permit to transport is a document which allows you to transport your firearm from one location to another. These are issued commonly to handguns and 22 rifles, so that keeps it pretty simple there. Uncommonly, they are also issued to long arms like shotguns and rifles, also high-powered rifles. Now, I have no personal experience in acquiring a PTT for a long gun, but I've heard that the rules, the gun laws being pretty uptight here in the Philippines, I heard that a PTT was issued to a high-powered rifle, like an AR-15, M16, because some people go target shooting, they do long-distance firing with them, and the duration was actually for like a really short time period only. For example, 1 day or something like that. So you're gonna pay a lot of money for just 1 day of transport. So now, in theory, that's how it goes, and however, in practice, most commonly PTTs are acquired for handguns, since many people do competitions with handguns, practical shooting, IPSC style, IDPA, so they use handguns commonly over here in the Philippines. Now, this is issued by who? A gun club, which is what I do, how I get my permit to transport, or you can do it through a gun store or an agent where they do have the proper registrations, requirements with the FEO, Firearms and Explosives Office compliance. Now, how much would you pay for this? I'll give you a comparison and contrast later on between the permits. So that's it for the permit to transport. It's a document, kind of looks like this. So it's a piece of paper like this instead of an ID, which you saw earlier. And it shows you your firearm, which you're allowed to transport from your residence, your location, to, well, in my case it says here, all PNP accredited firing ranges in the Philippines. It also shows the inclusive date. This is good for 3 months. And then the number of ammo I could carry with it, 500 rounds. Whoa, sorry about the lighting on that. And the last permit that we should be concerned about would be the permit to carry, or the PTC, sometimes understood as the PTC FOR or PTC 4, or permit to carry firearm outside of residence. What is this? What is this permit to carry? Well, this permit to carry is issued for handguns only. Now, long arms are not issued PTCs. People wonder why. Why can't I issue them? Well, part of the rules issued by the PNP, the Firearms and Explosive Office of the Philippine National Police, is that the firearm must be concealed. So this normally applies to, you know, civilians, government officials, appointed officials, off-duty police or military personnel, because obviously the police on duty and army or military personnel, they will have their firearms on them, like the rifles, long arms with them, as part of their duty. Now with the PTC, it also states that firearms are not allowed in certain areas, such as commercial centers, malls, and there are other areas which sometimes are considered no-gun zones, or there would be signs that would explicitly state that. So now if you are a responsible gun owner and you believe in, you know, the whole concealed carry protocol, you know, you got to be prepared at all times and at any place. So this is just something to be aware of, just so that you tread with caution and try not to get in conflict with any legal sides in our country's context. So this is issued, the PTC is issued by the FEO, the Firearms and Explosives Office. So you gotta apply for it. There's an application form. However, there are also some gun stores and agents that would help facilitate issue this. So there's some people actually around the vicinity or the area of Camp Crame, which is the compound or the area where the Firearms Explosives Office, the headquarters of the PNP, Philippine National Police, is. So there are people there who would actually help you acquire a PTC. Now, some people would, you know, frown upon it, or they would be very cautious about that, but I'm just telling you the practice, or like these people who are actually connected, you know, inside to the PNP area. So that's just another area. If you want to do it yourself, you could apply in the FEO office as well. Now, when it comes to permits, what's the difference between the PTT and the PTC? A little comparison and contrast. So in terms of cost, the PTT, or permitted transport, would cost you around 1,000 pesos to 1,200. 1,200, that's how much I paid in my gun club. Whereas the PTC would cost about 6,500 to as high as 10,000 pesos just for the permit to carry. Now if you, some people who say I'm part of the AFP, the PNP, or I'm an appointed official, they do get it for lower prices. So significantly less expensive. Now, where are you allowed to bring your firearms? So PTT, only from your residence to that location, let's say the accredited shooting range. So it's pretty much like a back and forth, one-way trip, two-way thing like that. And then for the PTC, where are you allowed to bring it? Anywhere outside of your residence. So pretty much anywhere in public, except take note of those no gun zones or areas which are pretty sensitive when it comes to firearms, such as, let's say, some malls, shopping malls, commercial establishments, some very particular no gun zone areas, probably like some bars or stuff like that. The validity of a PTT, it lasts for 3 months, whereas the PTC would last for 1 year. Now take note, with the PTC and the upcoming elections in 2013, so which is just around the corner, there's actually going to be a gun ban. So sometimes the PNP would issue or declare that there are guns are not allowed to be brought out in public, which is kind of doesn't make sense to me when a responsible gun owner gets punished for a criminal's wrongdoing. So that's another topic altogether. So the criminals will not follow the law anyway. So why are you banning guns for legal and responsible gun owners? But just take note of that, because the gun ban lasts around 6 months. So if you do get a PTC, you're pretty much you get a half-year PTC only if you do apply for one next year. So the duration of the PTT is 3 months only. The PTC is 1 year. Number of ammo allowed. This is a big deal for competition shooters, which is why most of them will get a PTT, permitted transport. They are allowed to carry up to 500 rounds of ammunition, whereas in a PTC, you're only allowed to carry 50 rounds of ammunition. So the logic with a PTC is, well, 50 rounds should be enough. If not, you better run or get the hell out of there. You need backup. So that's the difference there. So this is a little overview on the legal items that you'll be needing if you ever do possess a gun, if ever you do think of getting one in the near future. The very basic is the license, so the firearm license, which, as a legal or law-abiding citizen, I think that's the pretty basic minimum that we can have. So that license to own, it's legally yours, the firearm is yours. If you want to bring it out of your residence, let's say you do not have a large compound or farm with an outdoor firing range with very safe backstops and a wide tract of land to shoot, then you can opt for the permitted transport, and you can transport your firearm from your residence to the range. Then lastly, the PTC, or the permit to carry, pretty much goes for those people who would follow that concealed carry protocol, those who believe in carrying a firearm to protect themselves, to protect the lives of their loved ones. Well, those who believe in freedom, the right to protect themselves, to protect their life. And the PTC also kind of looks like a card, like the firearm license. However, it says permit to carry, and obviously the signatories, everything official there is in that card as well. So this is an overview, and I hope it helped you guys understand a bit. If you guys have any input, if you guys have any personal experiences that you want to share, correct, or add on to this, feel free to do so.